everyone, my name is Brittany. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're gonna be reading some romance.
It's Brittany, bitch.
So there are 3 books in the thumbnail as well as in the description. However, I only have 2 books with me today because the third one I'm gonna go pick up this weekend. But I have already made an executive decision because of course I sampled both these books before I decided to film this. So this is the first choice. This is the first book I picked up. I had the audiobook. This book called Wait For It, I actually requested on NetGalley, I think earlier this year, and I was denied. That made me really upset. This is the most beautiful cover. I'm obsessed with it. I really liked the idea. So we have, I think she's 28 and her name's Annabelle and she moves from Boston to Phoenix for a job opportunity working for one of her best friends. And then she falls in love with her landlord, Nick. I'm DNFing this book 3 chapters in. It's not happening. I'm very sorry, but I will give you my thoughts, okay? I'm gonna read you some of the things that convinced me not to pick up this book. And if that's not enough, please just go check out some of the reviews from other people because they go into like more detail and the book apparently gets worse. So chapter 3 is where Nick comes in. It is his first chapter as a perspective and it's the last one I'm ever gonna read. By the way, it's made pretty clear that Nick had an accident and he's struggling to just use his body. He's having a hard time with that. Cool, interesting. But also, I really don't like the fact that it says Nick suffered a stroke a year ago and while there's no physical reason for him not to recover, brain damage is really fucking hard, but okay. And then it says he's struggling to overcome the paralyzing fear that has kept him a prisoner in his own home. I would say having a stroke in a really big accident and having brain damage is pretty reason enough, but okay. Right here on page 32, this is where it really went wrong, but I just already didn't like him. He's like with his personal trainer and his trainer's looking out the window, looking at the new tenant, which is our main character. And he says she's a looker. And then our other main character, Nick, says, right, your idea of a good looking woman is whether or not she can bench press a car, I said. If you think she's good looking, then she's definitely not my type. I don't go for women who wrestle hogs for fun. He also asked a page later, scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being my great Aunt Madge with the long chin whisker and the faint odor of mothballs about her, and 10 being Scarlett Johansson, where does she rank? His trainer says, I don't rate women. And then he says, what? You're the one who just called her a looker. And then his trainer said, it's just an observation, not a rating. I can objectively notice that a woman is very attractive without diminishing her as a person by assigning her a number based on society's arbitrary standards of beauty. And then our main character, Nick, says, dude, you need to give me your man card. You're one of those woke males, aren't you? I'm sorry. I really just can't deal with like misogynistic characters. Like I literally can't. I have a really hard time with that, but this is like next level 3 chapters in. I'm not even attached to the dude. Wow. Oh, and then he's describing her as he finally looks at her at the window and he says, compared to the women I dated back in the city, she was playing with the side of pretty, but nothing I would have looked at twice. I don't know, man. I just don't like this dude. I don't like the way he describes her. Like, I just feel like you need to root for the characters, and I feel like there's no rooting happening. I'm just really annoyed. Here I am, DNFing this book. I will not be continuing. I'm very upset. I was really expecting this to be like a beautiful, good time. This also reminds me so much of the cover of the movie Palm Springs, which is like one of my new favorite movies of like this decade that I like fell in love with. So I was really expecting that kind of a vibe and didn't happen. So anywho, I have moved on to the second book in this reading vlog. It is called A Reckless Match, and this is kind of like an old-timey romance. I'm not sure what era this technically is. I'm not a big like romance reader, so I'm not 100% up to like date with the terms, but 1815. I don't know what era that is, but 1815 is when our book starts. Anyway, I'm liking this one a lot better. I started it and I've just kind of continued with it. I'm really liking it so far. And surprisingly, this book is actually brand new. This book came out in 2021. It actually came out September 2021, and then my library acquired this in exactly November 12th of 2021. And the fact that it smells so heavily of smoke tells me that a smoker bought this right away, brand new, and then only kept it for a few months in their house and then donated it to the library. Because the smoke smell is crazy coming off of this book. And on top of that, you can already see how yellowed the pages are. I mean, you may not be able to tell, but I can really tell, especially on the outer edges, how yellow it already was being in their house. But enough about my complaining. Let me tell you a little bit about this book. So it's basically about rivals. It's part of a series called Ruthless Rivals. This is the first book in the series, and obviously it's a really brand new series. I believe the second book is coming out this year in 2022 actually. So it's kind of exciting that I'm actually like reading a more modern romance, but I had no idea that it was. I was just looking for romance because I was kind of in the mood, and this one popped up, and here we go. Let me just read you the excerpt. I feel like I just have no mental energy to explain this book to you other than this. So, Madeline Montgomery grew up despising and secretly loving the roguish Griff Davies. Their families have been bitter rivals for hundreds of years, but even if her feelings once crossed the line between love and hate, she's certain Griff never felt the same. Now she's too busy saving her family from ruin to think about Griff and the other devilish Davies siblings. Since he's off being scandalous in London, it's not like she'll ever see him again, ... But as the new Earl, he planned on spending his post-war life enjoying the pleasures of London, but when an illegal duel forces him to retreat to his family's Welsh castle, I can't say that, his family's Welsh castle, he realizes the only exciting thing in the dull countryside will be seeing the fiery Maddie Montgomery. Lo and behold, thoughts of his nemesis sustained Griff throughout the war, but the girl he loved to tease has grown into a gorgeous, headstrong woman who loves him just as much as she ever did. Will secret tunnels, dangerous smugglers, and meddling from their feuding families be enough to make Maddie and Griff realize their animosity is really attraction and maybe even love? So far, so good. I'm really enjoying this book. This book already starts off with a bang. Our main characters have to meet on their like mutually shared land at this exact time, or they both, like, one of them will forfeit the land. So she really thought he wasn't coming. He shows up. They share a kiss, which was stolen, which I wasn't really a big fan of, but you could definitely feel the tension, and we know that she like enjoyed it, so it wasn't like it was like assaulty as much, but still wasn't a big fan of that, but it's fine. It's okay. He is definitely very brazen, and she is trying to be really coy, and she doesn't really think he likes her, even though to us it's quite obvious. And then basically she falls into like a well, and they discover a mine, and they're gonna just explore it together. And that's kind of where we're at. We know that her family is in ruins, and she doesn't want to be forced to marry this really rich guy who wants to pay her father to marry her. So she told her father, like, I'll figure something else out. Please don't make me marry that piece of shit. I'll figure something else out, daddy. And that's kind of where we are right now. I'm only 60 pages in, but this book is already a shit ton better than the other one. So I'm gonna continue on with this and probably get to like the halfway mark, which should be in probably like 100 pages or so, and then I'll get back to you guys. But so far, so good. I'm glad this one isn't super misogynistic, even though it's supposed to take place like hundreds of years earlier. I just want to let y'all know that I dead ass just spent $50 fucking on all this. Each macaroon was like $2. I got like 6 of those. Pistachio, chantilly, key lime, orange, strawberry, sour cherry. Okay, we got it from here. And then I got these cupcakes, hummingbird, lemon poppy seed, strawberry crunch, and then this one is a cherry almond. And then this is a chantilly cupcake that has to be refrigerated, and it's red velvet with raspberry in the middle. And this is like a tres leches parfait, which she said was apparently really good. And then I usually don't like cookies, but this one was just too cute to pass up, honestly. And it's funfetti. But yeah, literally spent $50 on treats for 2 people for the weekend. Hello friends, I wanted to give you an update on this book, A Reckless Match. I'm actually like 75% of the way done with it. I'm on page 237 out of 321 pages. So it's going really well, and I'm really enjoying it so far. But I have to say that I feel like something is missing, and I don't really know what it is about this book, but I'm just not connecting to it. It's not bad in any way, and it's a fast read. I do love a good short chapter, but I feel like there's something about the writing that I'm not connecting to. It's not like deep enough for me. I'm not like truly rooting for them. And I think I also have a problem with the love interest. He's like just way too pushy and like inappropriate for me, especially in this time period. I just feel like he's a little inappropriate, I guess is the best word. Like he just is kind of like making a lot of sexual innuendos for her and stuff, and I just am really not connecting with that. I just don't really like him as like a hero. And then basically a big part of this plot is her family obviously doesn't have any money. They're basically bankrupt, so this really rich piece of shit old dude wants to marry her, and she doesn't want to marry him, duh. But she's definitely like considering his offer even though she doesn't want to because they're so broke. And then the main character dude finds out about it and he basically calls her like a whore. He's like, you're nothing better than a whore if you go with him. And I'm just like, why are you verbally attacking your woman? I don't know. It just didn't really sit right with me. There's definitely a couple things that I'm not loving. And I think one of them is the pacing. I just feel like literally like no time has passed, but we've been stuck in like a cave or something for a really long amount of time. And it just feels a little wonky. It just feels like the sense of time in this is very befuddled. And it's very befuddling. Like I'm having a really hard time grasping the sense of time in this novel. And also they're not really enemies to lovers in my opinion. They're more like childhood rivals because I never really felt like the enemy thing. I definitely would like more about like their warring clans or their families. Like I really wish that was a little better done. I just feel like there's a lot of like forced proximity in this and I'm just not really vibing with it because I'm not really vibing with the main character dude especially. I'm just not really like a fan of him, but either way I just feel like the characters aren't fleshed out to like the level that I would prefer maybe. But I do like there's a whole smuggling thing where they find these caves, they find that they're smugglers, there's like a whole like smuggling plot that's really interesting. I like that our main character, she's really into archaeology and like history. Like I love that aspect of her. And I think I really enjoy her, but I just don't really think I really like him, so I'm not really rooting for their relationship. Even though there have been like some steamy moments, I haven't really like felt anything. So it's like a really fun, easy read, but at the same time, like I'm not overly connected to it. So I don't know how I feel about it yet. I really still don't know how to feel. I just feel like something's missing. I don't know what it is. It's just not like my 5-star perfect romance. It's looking like a 2 or a 3 right now. Like it's fine, it's okay, it's very readable. It's not like abhorrent or anything. I'm just not really rooting for these characters. Especially if this is the first in a series, like you really think you'd get more excited about these characters. But I'm just really not feeling it. I also wish we like had more conversation and stuff with like other side characters. I feel like most of the time it's just them like bantering, and sometimes I like their banter, but sometimes I really wish they had like other influences and things that made sense. There's just a lot of like moments of them together, and again I think it's just the pacing thing, like something about the pacing that's just not vibing for me at all. Anywho, I plan to finish this by tomorrow, and then I will hopefully give you an update in my car when I go to the library. So that's also why I'd like to finish it, is because I go to the library tomorrow. I'm going to return a couple of other books, so I definitely would like to finish this and return it and give you my final thoughts. But it definitely has inspired me to pick up more historical romance. I'm just not really sure if like this is like my favorite historical romance. I'm actually very interested in like reading Pride and Prejudice for the first time based off of one of these books. I just feel like it's kind of gotten me in the mood for historical romance, but like I just don't know if this is the one for me. Anywho, talk to you tomorrow. Okay, I hope you guys can hear me, but I have to have my AC on because it is really, really hot right now in Albuquerque. But I did go get my nails done today, and I'm gonna go return this book now. I did finish this today, and I feel like I'm just gonna give this probably like a 3 stars. I just feel like it's pretty average. It didn't really make me feel a whole lot. I really liked the beginning, and then the middle was just off, and then the ending was incredibly rushed, and we obviously are getting introduced to the other siblings and cousins and stuff that are going to have relationships later on in the series. And I get that, but it just felt like for so much of the novel we were just like with these 2 people, and then at the end we finally get introduced more to like all of these other characters, and it just felt really weird. Like something with the pacing was just definitely off. And I just don't really know if I'm like a big fan of the writing style at some points, and I also just don't like where some of the chapters left off. I just feel like they were kind of really weird like endings and really weird places to stop and then continue on in a scene. I don't really know. And the sex scenes didn't really do anything for me. I didn't find them very titillating. I wasn't really rooting for the couple. I don't know. I just feel like this wasn't 100% obviously the 5-star I was looking for, but it's definitely like fine, and it's not like bad by any means, and it's encouraged me to read other historical romance. So if you have any that are like maybe your favorites or something, please drop them down below, because I'm really into the genre. I just don't know if this was for me, but it has pretty high remarks. Maybe I'm just not into the genre as I think I am, or maybe it's just the pacing was off and I was just not a fan of it. I don't really know how I feel about it, so I think that's just the best way to give it. Probably a 2 or 3 star. Like it's okay, it's nothing to really write home about. I just feel like it could have gone a lot deeper. I feel like this could have done so much more for what it was there. You know, we have these 2 rival families that are sharing a plot of land, and there's some discoveries and stuff on the land later on in the book, which is really cool. There's like a whole smuggling thing. I just feel like it wasn't very exciting. It was very like weirdly monotonous, and I feel like we just spent way too much time with these 2 main characters that I didn't care for. I think that's just how I feel about it. But anyway, I'm gonna go return this to the library, and I'm gonna go pick up actually right now the other romance for this reading vlog. I'm not sure when I'll get to it, probably in a couple of days, but I kind of want to start reading it now because I'm feeling a little gypped from this one. The other one does not also have the highest remarks, so I know I look a hot mess, but just ignore that. I wanted to talk about the last book of this reading vlog, which is The Soulmate Equation. I'm actually 40% of the way into this already, and I'm bored. I just feel like Christina and Lauren, for some reason, they have books that I love or I hate. And this one almost is like indifferent. I just feel like it's kind of boring. I'm not connecting with the characters, and it's fine. I'm just not really in love with it. I like the concept of the whole DNA thing, but the characters they picked for it are just like not doing it for me. So we have a single mom, and she takes this DNA test working with this big company, and it turns out that she matches with one of the like scientists or founders of the company. I think he's the founder, I don't remember. Anyway, he's like the big shot of the company, and they match at like a 98% or whatever, and that is extremely unheard of and like never happened before. So they're trying to get them to like basically fake date to see if like they could like each other, and they're just doing it for publicity anyway for the company for like 3 months or something like that. So it's kind of where this is going right now. At the 40% mark, we finally got to like them fake dating. That's so much slower than I was anticipating to. I feel like it's taken such a long time to get there, and I don't really like any of the characters. Yeah, I don't really like the love interest either. He's really boring. He's like the typical overworked scientist trope that doesn't do anything outside of work. And I hate that trope because he's like, well, I'm not married, I don't have any kids, and I don't have any family nearby, so I don't do anything. And I'm like, I'm single without any kids, and I do shit all the time. I do not just work for a living. I need work-life balance. I just think that's so stupid. But anyway, I do understand that like scientists, especially like if they're in love with their work, they're going to want to work. Like I understand that to a point, but like I wish he had like another hobby or something. And then I just don't like their main character Jess at all. I know she's a single mom, and she's like a freelancer. She's like a freelance data analyst or something like that. And I don't really remember what her title is. It's also not that important because honestly, her as a character is just so flat for me. Don't care. I will let you guys know when I probably finish this, because at this point I just don't I don't really know what else to say. I feel like nothing's really happened other than obviously what I just told you, and I feel like I'm just gonna finish this at work on Monday because it's a Friday now. It's been such a long ass week, dude. I just kind of hoping for something more, at least like a character more I liked. I just feel like the main characters are very bland, and then the side characters have so much personality. I don't know, maybe it's just not the book for me. I know a lot of people didn't really enjoy it. It has a lot of mixed reviews, so maybe this is just not the romance for me. I don't know, I'm just not feeling it. And if I don't feel between the two main characters that are in the romance, like I just have a hard time rooting for the romance, especially when that's the whole point of the book is a fucking romance, and there's like no other plot. It's not fantasy or something. It's just kind of falling a little flat. So we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna try and finish this on Monday. I might get to it, I might not, because honestly, I was listening to the 40% mark and I'm like, why am I still listening to this? I don't know. I don't want to DNF another book in this. I'm gonna try and finish it because obviously I already DNF'd, wait for it. So I'm gonna try not to DNF this one. And if I do, I'll pick up another book because I don't want to do that to you guys. So anyways, I'll hit you guys up sometime next week. Bye. So I finished The Soulmate Equation, and it is getting 2 stars from me. I just did not enjoy this. I did not really enjoy any of the books thoroughly in this reading vlog. It was just not very successful, but you know what? At least I finished 2 of them. Okay, and this book gets 2 stars for me. I finished it, and if I wouldn't have had the audio, I definitely would not have finished it because it got more boring like the farther into the book you got. I feel like it started out interesting and I wanted to see where it went, and I guess the main conflict, which is fine, like I was expecting that for what's going on in here, but then there were just so many characters that just were kind of like unnecessary, and then they were completely forgotten towards the end, and it was all about their relationship, which I didn't care about in the first place because the relationship sucks. There was 0 chemistry, and the sex scenes were boring, and even though talking about sex, I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel any chemistry. I felt 0 heat. I didn't like any of our main love interests. The woman Jess, she was a stereotypical like mom, like a single mom, but almost like a bad stereotype of like she can't keep her shit together and like needs everybody's help and like doesn't want to ask for everybody's help all the time. And I don't know, I feel like they did like single moms a little bit dirty. I don't know, I wasn't really enjoying that aspect of her, but also because she was incredibly bland other than her identity as a mom, and she's supposed to be like a genius mathematician or data person or whatever. And I feel like for someone who's that smart, you'd think that she would have like better boundaries, or I don't know. She was just such a fucking doormat. She was such a boring character to deal with, and then she just makes these terrible decisions. Like she gives her mom money and her mom's like a drug addict and all these things that like were not relevant to the fucking plot, but like she kept making bad decisions. I don't know. And then we have River, who in the beginning is like a complete douche nozzle. Like he's like terrible, like he cuts her off and takes her parking spot. He's insulting, he doesn't hold the door open for her. And then all of a sudden, like it's like a 180 and it's a switch, and he's like amazing and sweet and compassionate and deep and emotional. And I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? It just made no sense. We went from like an overworked, like hard ass scientist, like complete douche nozzle, to like the most caring, emotionally like developed man in the world. Make it make sense. And honestly, like the further this went on, like the more bored I got. And I just don't really know how to describe it. I just feel like I kept waning any interest in it. Like it started off interesting enough, even though like her best friend Fizzy is cringe as fuck. There were just so many like issues with this book. Like I just found so many parts of this cringe. Like just like, ooh, God. He literally told her like, I want you in my bed. And I don't know why, but that just gave me like a feeling. Like it just felt, maybe it felt disingenuous. I don't know. Maybe it's also because I didn't connect with the characters. I didn't like them as love interests. I wasn't rooting for them at all, but I was kind of like skeeved out with some of the things that they said. I don't know. It just felt really forced, very cringy, very cheesy. It just wasn't the thing for me. That's the problem with Christina Lauren's work. They are totally a hit or totally a miss. Like they are 5 stars, obsessed, love it, like autobiography, or on Honeymooners. But then there's ones like this that are like 1 or 2 stars, and I just like never enjoy them. And it's just such a shame. Like I wish there was like more of like a formula I can understand about their books, like why they work or why they don't, but like they are completely like a 1 star or a 5 star. Like there's just not usually like too many in betweens. It's like I love it or I hate it. And this one was not great, and that's fine. I feel like the problem is it had such an interesting concept with the DNA that I was expecting them to do like a lot more with it, but like they didn't. Like it was totally forgotten in like the first half of the book, but then there was also like no romance. I just feel like it was complete insta love too. Like there was no good build up. There wasn't a good, like there was never like any character arcs. Like nobody learned anything. And then I feel like there was a bunch of like side plots that again didn't make sense to the end result. They didn't do anything. It was like plot points and then they were dropped immediately. Like, why did you include them then if they aren't relevant to later on? Even like a little bit. I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. It's not my favorite book of all time. That's fine. It's just upsetting too because like I really try to like be as neutral as possible, but I just know with their books it is going to be a love or a hate. And I knew like when I first started it probably wasn't going to be a good one. But I didn't want to DNF for another book for you guys. I didn't want to go find another romance till I finish this vlog out. I just felt like I need to just finish this and get over with, and listening on audio was easy enough and it was like fine for the rest of my day. But I'm definitely looking forward to doing anything else but listening to this. I've restarted another audiobook for something I'm enjoying way more. So yeah, that's all I have for this vlog. Sorry about that. This has been a really fun time. Even though the highest rating I actually gave any of these books was a 2.5, this was very fun for me, and it really inspired me again to get a little bit more into reading again, and also to pick up romance, because I think the problem is I want that romance, it's scratched, and it hasn't been scratched. Like I really want to find a romance that tickles my fancy, so I might look for some Talia Hibbert or something. And if you guys have any romance suggestions, please drop them down below. Like maybe think of like your favorite romances of all time. That would be fantastic. It doesn't matter if it's mixed with something else like a YA romance fantasy. Like I'm down for that. Send me your recommendations because I'm really feeling like some dirty romance. Maybe a little smutty, maybe not smutty. That's totally fine. I'm fine with either one, but just send me your recommendations down below. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.